Welcome back to Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. I'm Brandon, back with the whole gang today. We got Nick, got Travis, got Chad, Kyle, and Jose. How you guys all doing today?
The whole gang is here.
The whole gang.
Doing fantastic.
I was getting nervous. I didn't think you were going to make it, Chad. You were busy.
Yeah, I was about to prolong that phone call for a while.
I had a feeling you were trying to delay it out a little bit. No, you weren't doing that. You enjoy being on here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, you were just on a recent episode with me on another podcast, weren't you?
Yeah, with a camera.
It was, the video podcast you were on. Sabre Talk. I'm your host on that one, too. But yeah, so how'd that go? That was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty cool. It's nice knowing that I'm number one.
You're number one in my book, buddy.
Not only in your heart, but in the company's eyes.
Yeah. Number one, buddy. Number one. I knew if I screwed up, you'd be the best guy to screw up in front of.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's why I was like, let's pick Chad, because if I screw up, he's going to be just as awkward as I am about it. So
Just stop and stare at the camera.
just stare at the camera together aimlessly. That's funny. No, but thank you for joining me on that. That was fun.
Yeah, it should be exciting to see those episodes.
Yeah. So if you haven't, you should go find that episode. I don't think it's out yet, but it's going to be out soon. It's going to be tomorrow, is my understanding. So actually, same day as this. It should all be out on the same day, I believe.
Jeez, whole lot of Chad going on
There's
tomorrow.
going to be a lot of Chad tomorrow. A lot of Chad tomorrow. But no, it's going to be fun. Like I said, so make sure you go find Sabre Talk. We're going to have a video podcast, and it's going to be kind of a unique podcast. It's going to be a little bit different than this one. It's going to be me and a guest, and the episodes are going to be not as frequent. We're not going to do it every week, per se, but we're going to try to do them more regularly and talk one-on-one with somebody in the industry. And in this case, it was the Chadillac.
I am in the industry.
You are in the industry. What'd you guys do this weekend? Anything fun?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Zero.
Did you go
Zilch.
golfing at all?
No.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Literally, absolutely nothing.
Got caught up on some Netflix. You know.
Oh, nice. Hey, by the way, Netflix caught on to my using my mother-in-law's password.
Yeah, they don't like
No
that.
way, really?
They did. It says, we've noticed that your location is outside of your network. Well, son of a gun.
They haven't said anything about me watching for 9 hours a day here yet. So
Well, you're
Doing
about to
good.
Well,
find
it's
out.
still your login.
It's still
though.
your login.
But it's at a different. Oh, so you're
Password
They're
sharing.
cutting
still
down
a
on
different
password,
location though. I watch it at home. I watch it here.
but it's the same password.
Don't you use the same
I use the same
password?
password.
But,
That's what I'm saying. Different location.
Yeah. Somehow they know that
but
I'm
they
at
know
home.
that you're not at your mother-in-law's house.
And they also probably know that you're watching. Wait a second. Are you watching Netflix at work? That just dawned on
5
me.
minutes later, he
Wait a second here.
catches on.
No.
I was waiting too.
Wait a second here. Are you watching on your mobile or your work computer?
Neither.
Well, seriously, are you
I just
watching
look-
it on your
no.
mobile? Because
No.
that would make a difference then, because they see it's a mobile device.
I mean, I have logged into it here before.
On the work computer though?
Yeah, but not.
So that it would know a location.
Not
How
of-
come
not
mine
often,
doesn't
though.
let me log in?
But if you're doing, I guess, if you're doing it for hours and hours on end.
I'm very
Maybe,
upset
I don't
about
know.
this. All I know is I logged in last night, couldn't even watch anything.
But they know all of your stuff already, so they know it's like his phone. He's logged into other stuff that's connected to his phone, I'm sure.
My dad
because
uses
like
mine all the time,
my home computer recognizes my work computer.
I
as
don't
a-
like it. Makes me upset.
They must just randomly pick up because
Well,
my
I-
dad's used mine for years.
I
Oh,
guess
we've used hers for years. And yesterday night was the first night it was like, no.
I mean, the price is like doubled in the last year, so who
I know.
cares?
Oh, it's
My wife was like,
stupid.
should we just get our own? I'm like, no.
I am not paying $16.
I'm not
a
going to do
month.
that. She's like, we can cancel Disney Plus and do it. And I'm like, sure. I don't know. We've never watched Disney Plus. I didn't even know we pay for that.
So I guess the last time I logged in, it asked me a question, but it just says, "Are you in this network?" And I just clicked my name, and it logged me back in. So I guess my mom must pay for mine.
He doesn't even know.
He doesn't even know.
he has
Well,
no
we've
idea.
always used the same account for like
Hey,
6 of us.
can I have your mom's number?
I
wanna
got
pay
it
for
if you
yours
want
too?
it.
Yeah. Think she'll pay for mine?
She probably
and
will.
other things.
She probably will.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so that's cool. You watched some Netflix. Did you do anything this weekend, Nick?
Yeah, we went over to Wisconsin and bought some.
Oh, that's right. You bought
fireworks.
explosives.
Yeah. Shot some
Legal
of those off.
explosives, of course, right?
Yeah, legal in anywhere but Minnesota.
Like, getting that done early, huh?
Yeah, I mean the kids.
Just want to beat the July 4th rush, or
Yeah, we bought enough to last a couple nights here and there up to the 4th. So
He's going to be just blowing things up.
it seems like you get so busy on the 4th you don't have any time to do it at home, so we just do it before.
Right.
Yeah, I get that.
And then we kind of like, I don't know, made a tour of it and stopped in Hastings and had dinner with my parents and then had some dessert in Lakeville and then went home.
Did you go to the
The Dairy Delight place?
Dairy
Dude,
Delight,
that place
dude.
is great.
dude peanut butter cup what is it? The peanut butter cup cookie dough, whatever they call their snowball or whatever. Dude, amazing.
See, I didn't look into it that far. As soon as I saw that you could get an orange dreamsicle float with orange pop and ice cream, I was all in on that.
You were all in.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
Travis, what'd you do?
We had a little staycation for our 1-year wedding anniversary.
Yeah, so you were
I
gone
had
Thursday, Friday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Did you go ziplining?
We did.
Was it 38 miles?
It was not.
Oh,
But it was a good time. It
really
was
a letdown. I
pretty
thought it was 38
exciting.
miles.
Especially when they let you put your own life in your hands because you have to actually brake at this one.
Oh,
Yeah, like you're your own brake. On the other one I did, they have like this fancy rope that they just throw out and you just smoke it and it stops you. This one you have a glove, and if you obviously don't do it right, you're going to lose your hand. And there was a young girl, probably, I don't know, 13, 14, that was in our group, and she almost lost her hand a couple times. It just kept like bouncing. And then the guy had to do that special rope to stop her. But I mean, I messed with him a little bit, but I knew what I was doing.
that's cool. You're a professional zipliner?
I mean, I feel like I'm pretty good at it
Yeah.
now. I don't need the
You on-
instructions.
Are
like
you on
everyone else.
YouTube?
I should be.
Yeah. Travis is zipliner.
Yeah, you see 220 pounds of fury coming at you. This guy sitting here like waving his arms, telling me like, slow down.
how long did the 18-mile zip line take you?
2 hours.
Oh, not bad.
2 hours.
Yep, they say 2 to 2.5 hours. We got it done in 2.
How long did you go? 18 miles?
I don't know. I think if you actually put it into true miles, you're probably like 1.2 miles.
That's right.
Checks out. That's cool. Well, that's good. So you got to go ziplining. That was one of your 4 days. And then I heard you guys are raising mice in your house.
Oh,
Congratulations.
boy. Yeah, well, hopefully they'll be all gone. The pest
Tell
control
Mickey and the
people
gang
are-
we say hello.
Yeah, they were there today. They can't figure out where they're coming in from.
Yeah, I've heard the whole story, the whole day long. I've been trying to type away, and I hear Travis talking about the mice.
Oh, they're going to be gone soon.
Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like they're actually moving in from the sound of it.
They are
Yesterday it started
sneaky.
with a half of one, and now you have 47 of them.
I don't know how many. 2 for sure. First one's
Oh.
been disposed of. Second one's on the run.
Where there's 2,
He's
there's
on the
probably
run.
5 more.
The second
They
one's
are.
on the run. Did you guys hear that? It's like he's got a bounty out on him. He's like, I'm running. You'll never catch me, copper.
Well, they're babies, so that's why I was like, well, if there's one, there's definitely another. So
Oh,
there's
my
at least
God.
2.
That's funny. Yeah, no. So that's cool. So exciting weekends for everybody.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Finished second. Went racing on Saturday.
You know what they say about second place?
First loser. And I wore it proudly. You know what that means? Still won something.
That's true.
Yep. Finished second on Saturday. Went to a bonfire on Friday.
Nice.
Probably would have won Saturday if people knew how to drive.
Probably could have won on Saturday if I wouldn't have almost died. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody got a little excited, and they may or may not have crashed into the right side of my race car. But hey, we still finished second, so it's good. I'm just happy I wasn't upside down, because I was nearly upside down. And when I was like sideways, I thought to myself, oh no, here we go again. Here we go again. It was much different. But yeah, it was pretty eventful. But other than that, then Sunday we did the Father's Day thing and went to my in-laws and we barbecued. And then my wife got these cool paint guns. And I got to have a paint fight with my kids. It's not a paintball fight. It's like a paint fight. Like it's like a squirt gun, but with paint. I don't know. It's designed that way. It's like washable paint. Yeah, I won. My kids were covered in paint.
It seems messy.
It was very messy. And when my kids got close, I shot them in the face with the paint and they couldn't see me and I ran away. It was awesome. They had glasses on, just for the record. But I made sure the glasses were full of paint so they couldn't see out. And then they had to wipe the glasses, and by then I was gone.
And then you just smeared anyways. You
Yeah,
didn't really
and I was gone. I would just hide. I learned also that I do not like running.
I'm with you.
It was not fun.
I also do not like running.
That part was not fun.
Not enjoying
I also learned that I can shoot through a pine tree, and my kids cannot. Because they try to hide behind the pine trees, and I just shoot through it and hit them with the paint gun, and they couldn't figure out how I was doing it. It was awesome. So I outsmarted them. But yeah, so that's what I know there. But yeah, I think, what did we talk about last week, guys? Do you remember?
Rebuilding, I think.
Rebuilding and replacing.
Yeah.
And we told everybody you should just replace with ShopSabre. Buy ShopSabre equipment. End of story.
ShopSabre.com.
That wasn't queued up as clean as it could have been.
At least got one in early.
I got it in early. But no, now today I thought we'd talk a little bit about the future of CNC. You know, or future with CNC. Let's talk about the future. Not Back to the Future, though. It's Speaking of Back to the Future, I had to try to explain time zone change to my son when we were driving. And I realized that's time travel. It's pretty cool.
Kind of.
It kind of is. We left the hotel at 11 o'clock, and it said we'd be at the racetrack at 11:04. And Caden goes, "We're 4 minutes from the racetrack." And I'm like, "No, we're not. We're an hour and 4 minutes from the racetrack." "No, it says 4 minutes." I'm like, "Yeah, well played, but it's an hour and 4 minutes." And then he goes, "I'm going to watch the clock." And he watched the clock, and we got to 11:05, and he's like, "We're not there yet." And I'm like, "Guess what? It's going to be a little bit." And we got all the way to 12, and right at 12 is where we, like, when you drive into that town is where it changes, and it bounced back. And he's like, "What just happened?" I'm like, "Yeah." Told you. So it was pretty awesome. But anyways, the future. But no, I chose this topic because I thought, the industry that we're in, specifically CNC, is constantly changing and evolving. It's done that forever, and I think it will do that probably forever. And I thought it'd be a good time for us to talk about what the future looks like with CNC and how it might affect, businesses and your business if you're, somebody listening to this. But when you look back on the time you guys have been involved in CNC, and I think that's what's cool here is that we have a wide range of experience levels. I've been here 4 days, and then we got Travis, who's been here. We're still not sure he's shown up. And then we have Chad, and then we have Nick. But in all seriousness, we've all got a different level of experience in this industry and been in it at a different time. But I think I would love to hear from you guys on how has the industry changed in the time you've been a part of the industry, and has the way people do business changed in that time?
I think that machines have gotten slightly easier to use. The softwares are more intuitive. The machine functionality is easier. It's not like you have to manually write G code to get the machine into position.
Chad, how long have you been in the industry?
Almost 5 years.
5 years. And you think about that, like in 5 years, you're already saying that you think the software's gotten easier.
Correct.
And I think that says a lot right there in itself. And I would agree with you 100% on that. I just asking the question from your perspective, but I think 100% in the last 5 years, software's gotten a lot easier. I think back to when I started on this and the way software used to be to the way software was 5 years ago. And it was like incredibly, easier 5 years ago. And then you think of what we've done in the last 5 years with software. And it's like now the concern with learning how to run software isn't even a real concern anymore.
Very minimal.
Yeah. Like when I started, it was like learning how to program. Like it was hard.
Like back when you had to go to college to do it.
Like you better be willing to sit down and really spend some time, and figuring it out, because it wasn't as easy as it is today. Especially like back in the day, there was only a handful of softwares when I was started, and obviously mine was considered advanced, right? I mean, there was guys before me that had to literally hard program things and write G code. I at least had CAD programming, but there was only a handful of CAD programs out there. I mean, it was basically, do you want to use Visual Mill or do you want to use Vectric? Like that's what you had. There wasn't another program out there. You didn't have the Mosaic cabinet softwares, and KCD wasn't anywhere near what it is today. And, you had to look at these packages. I mean, a lot of the cabinet packages were 20 to 30 grand.
I've heard that from multiple people.
And now you pay, what's the monthly? $125 a month?
Yeah, that.
$125 a month or $200 a month or whatever it is now, depending on the package you go with. But comparably to $20,000 to $30,000.
Just to get started, that doesn't include maintenance fees and all the other stuff that
Training,
they charge you.
any of that. That was just the software.
Just to get going.
Yeah. So, I agree with you, Chad, on that the software's changed. I guess you guys, what do you guys see in the time you've been in the industry?
For me now, I've been doing this for coming up on 7 years with ShopSabre, and I look at the machines.
Longest 7 years of my life.
He loved
I'm
every
sorry.
minute of them.
Continue.
I look at the machines that basically I was selling when I started here, and the machines that we're selling now have changed. Just the technology, the frame designs, the motors, the spindles, the options that are available. I just think that the advancement in, like, for a customer that does guitar work or something like that, most of them don't understand how they're going to get their parts into a file, a format for a machine to read.
Wow, it's very nice.
You can use something called the digitizing touch probe, and when I started, talking to a customer about something like that, they just are mind blown that a machine can do that. So, I look at the options, I look at the way the machines are built, but like you guys had mentioned, software is a big one as well. And it's been a lot cheaper now to get software versus, like
Yeah.
you said, 20, 30 grand. Now you're monthly and not paying an annual maintenance fee and stuff like that.
Well, let me ask you this, Travis, because you've been in this industry longer than anybody else at this table, other than myself. But when you started, think about the machine quality difference. Like, that's something that I think personally has changed so much.
Huge.
It's 7 years, you know?
Huge.
7 years is relatively a short amount of time when you think about it, right?
For sure.
But you think of how the quality in CNC has changed.
Yep.
Like, the machines we were even building back in the day compared to the machines we're building today.
Yep.
I mean, it's night and day difference. And the price has not skyrocketed.
Not nearly as much as I would have expected.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking is like for the amount of technology and the amount of advancement and the amount of quality in a CNC machine today, the price should be way more.
I agree.
Like it blows me away that the machines we're selling today at ShopSabre, what we're selling right now, other brands were getting $150,000 to sell you.
And I get customers that tell me that constantly, say that they think our prices should be almost double
Yeah.
comparably, because when you look at our technology versus the people in our world,
Correct.
because a lot of people can see through the imported machines and say,
Yeah.
I understand this is not anywhere near the quality. I don't know why the price is so close. But then you get the handful of customers that say this thing should be $75,000 starting price.
And that is how it's done.
Well, that's our goal, right? I mean,
Yep.
we want to build the best value on the market. Like we've always told people, we're not going to be the cheapest machine. We don't want to be the cheapest machine.
Right.
We're not going to be the machine for everybody. Some people simply just can't afford our product. And that's okay, because I'd rather be a product that some people can't afford and build a good product than be the product that everybody can afford, but it's kind of a piece of crap.
Right. Mediocre at best.
Right? New guy.
I think for me, I mean, I've only been here 7 months.
Yeah.
But I think kind of like what Travis said, the technology that's changed or the advancements that like ShopSabre is made as a company to make specific machines for like CDEC and things like that to provide a specific machine for specific, types of businesses that are calling in to order machines. I think it's the biggest thing that I've noticed in the last handful of months being here from just learning the little bit that I have.
And that's huge because, and that's why I love to get the perspective of every person, because you're 7 years, Travis. You're 7 months. And both of you have seen a wide range of changes. But, you think about in 7 months, you've seen changes.
Yeah.
So just think about that from a perspective of a consumer, right? If things are changing in 7 months, like if you have a 10 to 15 to 20-year-old machine out there right now, how much has that industry changed on you and you don't even realize it?
Right.
You're running machines that are, really dinosaurs in the, grand scheme of things, because they're not able to move at the speed. And I'm not meaning dinosaurs like they're bad, but they're slower machines, right? I mean, the technology 10 years ago, 20 years ago was not capable of doing the things that we can do today.
Yep.
But it also speaks to the quality of the machine that's being manufactured
Yeah.
here, that it lasts that long.
Yep.
Even though technology has changed so much, they still have a machine that's 10 years old that they're still using to produce what they intended to begin with.
And a
For
handful
sure.
of those customers running those 15, 20-year-old machines still love them. Like,
Yeah.
I'll talk to customers, they're like, yeah, we're looking to upgrade, but we're definitely not getting rid of our old one. We
Well,
love it.
I think it proves that if you do it right, they last.
Yep.
And that's what we do, is we try to build you a machine that you can depend on. And the biggest thing that you're going to find is that you buy a ShopSabre, you don't have to throw it away in a year or two.
Right.
You can keep running it for 10 plus years, which is a big investment, right? The one thing that I laugh about is, like, for me, 14 years ago, I had to prove to people that CNC machines could actually do the work. Like, that was what I had to do. Like, I had to prove to them you could cut cabinets on a CNC machine 14 years ago. Like, that's what the industry's done to me in like 14 years. When I think about the change, like, it wasn't uncommon to have to cut parts for a customer because they simply weren't going to believe you that it could cut their cabinet out in 5 minutes.
It's kind of funny to think about doing a test cut on a cabinet part.
You just don't do it.
Never, ever.
Like, I don't know that I would
Nobody
even
questions it anymore.
when I don't know that I would even do it. If somebody was like, I don't believe it can do it, I don't think I would be like, well, let's cut it and prove it. I'd be like, look at anywhere on the internet.
Because we still do test cuts from
Yeah.
time to time on the weird,
Yeah,
unique
unique things that we're
yeah.
not sure. It's sometimes we
But-
want to prove that it can do it, but
Right.
It's funny to think about 14 years ago, like, oh, can you cut this base cabinet for
that's
me?
what it was too. Yeah, it was like I would have guys that were like, "You can't drill the shelving holes." I'm like, the hell I can't. Watch me, like But you start thinking about it, and it wasn't uncommon for me to have to do that. And now with the internet, you know, and the way it is, like people don't question that because I can show it. I can show you a video. I can show you, like, I want you to think about that 14 years ago, what the internet was like. You guys saw our website. You guys just recently saw that we were able to go back in time and look at an old website. And the websites weren't as capable. I mean, they were a text website. They just told you what you wanted to, you know, to read about, but they didn't have videos. The pictures were low quality. I mean, you're talking 32-bit computers, right? Like 64-bit computers. Like that's it, those were new, you know, 64-bit was relatively new when we got started. So you got to think about that stuff. And it's like,
Think about cell phones 14 years
dude,
ago.
like I couldn't take cell phone pictures the way I can now.
No.
Like when I first started at ShopSabre, like I would like to say that I was one of the first companies out there to do video. And I did it on my cell phone, holding it myself, and like taking video.
If anybody wants to see those, we can still.
Those are still out there. They are still out there.
Believe it or not, he had hair back
Yeah,
then,
no,
too.
it was back when he had hair. He was probably 2 inches taller too.
I have very little time to get to the gym, so I have to scope my guns at the office.
I spent a lot of time at the office, guys. No, I did. I had hair back then, and we did videos on my cell phone. But nobody else had video. Like it wasn't a thing. And then you started getting into that and like how effective that's been for business, right? It's allowed people to cut their time down in research. Like research back in the day used to take 2-3 months.
Well, even for us talking to customers, when you're talking about an option and you're on the phone with them, like, hey, I'm going to shoot you this video.
Yeah.
Hey, I just sent you this video. This last phone call I was on, I sent the guy like, I bet 6 emails while we were on the phone, all with different video links or pictures in it.
And I had to literally explain every one of those things. Like when I got started, that's what I think about. When I got started, it was like, he'd be like, how does the tool measure switch work? Well, let me walk you through it. And like we'd step by step walk through it where you can be like, let me send you a video. You can see it in action.
And back then, the guy was probably like, okay, well, that's what you're going to tell me it does.
Correct.
But will it really do that?
Correct.
Now you can show him that it does it.
Yeah. And you know, nowadays there's little question on whether a CNC machine can do it or not. Like that's what I will say is like people know the machines can cut parts. The bigger question for people is what machine do they want now and what options do they feel they can afford or they're going to need for their job? Where back in the day, it was like they weren't even sure the machine could do it. It wasn't which machine do I buy? It was find the company that they think could actually build them something to do what they need to. That's what it was. And it was just like, it blows me away. You know, I think about how much time I spent in my early career proving what I was selling actually worked. Like I had to prove every day my job. Which, you know, imagine that. You do it for a living every day, and you still have to prove to people that you're really doing what you do every day.
Think how many more machines you could have sold if you weren't spending so much time explaining and doing those things.
Oh, like phone calls for
Crazy.
me were hours. Like we would spend hours on the phone on one phone call. So I think about that, and like think about that as a cabinet maker right now. Think about how long some people have spent building kitchens, right? And now how long they spend. I bet it's the same thing. You know, like they would spend hours cutting a base cabinet out. And now they do it in 5 to 7 minutes.
Right.
Like that's the future with CNC is that you have evolved and been able to make life so much easier and so much more profitable. And to me, the future with CNC is much brighter, obviously. You know, the world continuously is evolving and the demands for everything that we have in the world nowadays. You know, do you guys think that CNC has changed the way we manufacture or the way that manufacturing in the world is done?
100%.
Do you think business has evolved because CNC, or do you think that CNC has evolved because of business?
Well, that's a good question.
Probably both,
I
right?
was thinking both.
I mean, going back to what I said before, we're now making machines for specific businesses because we had to advance our business to suit their needs, right?
Agreed.
So it's kind of both.
I think businesses can evolve though from the CNC machine.
Agreed.
Getting,
It's the chicken or the egg, right?
Yeah.
What came first? Like for me, I believe a lot of manufacturing has evolved because of CNC technology. Like I think what people used to expect, they don't expect today. You know, the job's going to take days. You expected that back in the day. Manufacturing took days. Now people don't have the attention spans. They expect it in minutes and hours, right? What used to take days and weeks, sometimes months, you're doing in a day now. So like people are having a hard time nowadays, like with lead times. They don't want to wait for something because manufacturing has evolved so much that people think they should have it instantaneously. Like I'm going to be honest, I shop that way. I buy product. I don't even look on the website most of the time to see when I'm going to get it. I just assume it's shipping that same day or the next day. And like that's my own fault, right? Mm-hmm. I look at things and I just assume that it's in stock. That's going to be, that's just the way it is. When we used to look at it like, I wonder how long this is going to take to get this.
It's kind of crazy.
Right? And so I think, in my opinion, manufacturing evolved because of CNC. The CNC technology allowed people to build things quicker, build things more affordable, And I think with all of that, it's driven prices actually down because people are spending less time. And rather than being more profitable, it's a race to the bottom in some cases. Well, I can save $1, so I'm going to save them $1. And they just keep lowering those prices down to eventually, I think that's what's led this world to such a cheap product. People have become so accustomed to buying cheap things. It's because of the CNC world, I think. Like the manufacturing world. Like we've executed so efficiently in manufacturing that a lot of these import products now can produce parts at a much cheaper cost, and therefore they start building cheaper machines, they build cheaper products, they build cheaper whatever, and people just buy them based on price rather than quality anymore.
And now we have to throw everything away versus fixing it.
Correct. Going back to last week's episode, we have to throw everything away when it's done because a lot of people have cut the quality so bad that it's not repairable. It's not worth repairing. Just throw it away.
Exactly.
I think business has gotten busier. That's one thing because people are taking on a lot more load now too. The machines have taken on so much more work. Again, you'd have to have 2, 3, 4 guys to do the work of what one machine can do nowadays. And so rather than having to hire all those people add machines and they can just take on more work. So suddenly what you were doing 10 years ago, you're doing 10 times that today.
In the same amount of time.
Same amount of time, exactly.
Did I just finish your sentence?
You did. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
I think we're best friends. I feel like
Must
we're
have been
best
the 2 podcasts in a row.
It was. 2 podcasts in a row and he could finish my sentence. It's, I don't know. I just think, like you said, it's exactly that. They're taking on way more work. And for me, CNC technology's evolution is a lot to do with people's ability to do more in less time. And I think that's where like you evolve certain options. You look at tool changers as an example. That's evolved with CNC because people want to change tools without having to go up to the machine and do it.
Did more people order non-tool changers 14 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
I was
Because
actually just going to say that.
No, you weren't.
When I first started here, I very seldomly could quote tool changers just because
Really?
people didn't feel like it was an expense worth having.
Huh.
Like
I
you
never
really had to
quoted
push.
tool changers right away. It was always a manual change, and then the tool changer was an option that you should consider.
My first year, I guess I wouldn't question people like I do today. Now
Yeah.
I'll have like a whole like.
Yeah, no, I agree with you though, because like you said, you do question people now, and there's more to go about with that. But let's talk about that CNC evolution, right? Let's talk about when you guys consider CNC machines of today, like looking at the machines that we sell today, and then you look back at machines we sold previously, and let's look at the industry, the machines you compete against today versus the ones you used to compete against. What has changed the most obviously to you guys?
I think controller functionality, especially on our system, it being all from one screen. You're not selecting through 5 different screens to do one task.
That's gonna be a tough one to top. That's a good one.
Well, the other thing I liked about what we've changed at ShopSabre from the old machines to the new machines is adding the dual ball screws on the Y-axis.
Yeah, I think the drive system technology, like, dude, you took 2 really good ones. I gotta try to hit on both these now. The controller, let's start there first. The controllers themselves. When you look back on CNC, and actually there's still some machines today, believe it or not, they're selling new machines that still use controls that are like 10 to 15 years old.
You see those funny knobs?
Yeah, like it's like it kind of makes you laugh. But honestly, we know it because we're in the industry. But customers don't realize it. But like the controllers of today are so much better if you use current technology. Like, when I started, this is what I think is funny. When I started in CNC, we were one of the first or the early adopters of a computer, of using like a PC at the machine. And I used to get beat up by people. Oh, they got a PC at the machine. Can't believe they're using a PC. Now it's like a PC standard. Like you should use a PC on a machine because nobody wants to use that old dinosaur controller anymore. Like people want the convenience of a PC because you can network it, because you can log in and do remote support, because you can do your CAD programs at the machine, file storage. There's so much there. There's so much advantage to having that PC control. But there's so much more of a difference now because there's a PC controller that's like just a computer and it's got just a program on it, right?
Like downloading an app on your phone.
Correct. And then you have a controller that actually, like, now you have PC controls that have the standalone controller boards, just like what you would get from, you know, your standalone controls, like your Fanuc controls and things like that. Like when you open those big cabinets that we used to have, those boards that were in it are just now smaller and they're in computers.
So Windows is only there because we all know how to use them.
Correct.
Turn one on and off, basically.
Yeah, but it's like, you think about that. Like when I got started, I had to prove to people that Windows was the future. Like, think about that. I had to prove to them Windows was the future. And like now you just trust it. Like, like if I went to you today and tried to sell you a machine without Windows on it, you'd be more skeptical of that than when I was trying to sell you Windows at the time.
100%.
So like, you think about that side of it. So yeah, the controller is huge. Like, I think what controllers can do today, how much faster they are, how much more stable they are today.
How much better support we can provide.
Yeah,
today.
the support side of
Were
things.
you going to say that? Did I finish your sentence?
You just finishing sentences again? Are we best friends? But yeah, the one thing that you mentioned too is the drive system. You know, let's talk about that because ball screws. Mm-hmm. You know, they're very common in the industry. I mean, all mills pretty much use it. I mean, all pretty much aerospace machines use it. It's pretty common.
Everybody's machine on the Z-axis.
Yeah, but the thing that blows me away though is it's the opposite. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you didn't have to prove it. People wanted ball screw. It's all people wanted because the ball bearing technology was so much better. But then now there's been so much influx of cheap machines and Chinese machines and these lower quality products that you see rack and pinion so many places that now people are like, well, is it really better? Like 10, 15 years ago, people didn't question if a ball bearing was better than a gear. Like the science was the science. People get it. Nowadays, people are like, well, is it really better? Like it didn't magically get worse. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the drive system technology to me is just one of those things. But going from, we used to be single ball screws down the middle. Remember those, Travis? Mm-hmm. Single ball screw down the middle, rotational screws.
Yep.
Things were slow. People had to worry about whip. Nowadays, there's no whip in these machines because you're not rotating the ball screws anymore. They're high-speed ball screws, so they move at ridiculous speeds now. And they're stupid accurate now. Like, dual ball screw made these machines incredible. I mean, remember the first dual ball screw machine we built, Travis? I think it was awesome. And just actually comparing a single ball screw machine side by side with a dual ball screw machine, how much difference it made.
For sure.
And now it's just like standard. Now you would never consider a single ball screw machine, you know, in this level. But
Right.
that's something that I would say, Trad, you hit two things there that are very, very big changes in the industry. I guess, Travis, we just took all your thunder away, I think. But what do you...
Well, when we're still talking about the machine side of things, and again, going 7 years back into where we're at today, dual ball screws, the frame designs. We were the suspended style frames, and now they're lateral stack steel frames. So to be able to handle the extra
It used to be bolt on
forces-
legs. Remember that?
Yeah. I mean, these frames that we have now are just ridiculous. And, you know, pictures and videos don't always do justice. When a customer comes into the shop and takes a peek at one of these in person, like, oh, my God. So
Similar
ShopSabre.com.
to when they first get the machine if they hadn't seen one.
Yep.
Like,
I love that.
Dude.
You know, a guy will message you and be like, why didn't you tell me this thing was a tank? You know, like this thing is just amazing.
Yeah.
But to go along with the frame and the dual ball screws, you know, you also talk about motors.
Yeah.
How many people now are going with a closed loop motor just because obviously it makes sense. When you're into a industrial machine, you have to have it.
We used to be all open motors. Like, there's no feedback at all from the motors, no encoders. Like, used to be just, you know, stepper motors that had no feedback, no encoders. And the torque level of motors today, I mean, when I started selling CNC machines, they were 300 inches a minute rapid. 300. Our desktop machine does that now. Like, we were selling
Okay.
12-foot machines that went 300 inches a minute.
the desktop machine can cut at that speed.
Dude, I know. Like,
That can wrap it faster.
yeah, that's my thing. Like, we used to seriously cut at, you know, or wrap it at 300 inches a minute. You had to do a tool change from 12 feet away. You just go get a cup of coffee. Like, we'll get back before this is done.
Those are probably the days that got people so hung up on boring blocks, huh?
Oh, absolutely. That's why people thought they needed a boring block and everything, because, yeah, it took forever to go do a tool change. That's why I laugh nowadays with people like, oh, the dust dock takes forever. Like, yeah, you want to see it take forever? Go do a tool change with a 300 inch per minute machine. There's forever for you. But now the machines, they go 2,000 inches a minute without an issue doing a tool change, you know? Like, it's not even close. Like,
I love it too. And you talk to a customer, they're like, well, I need this machine to be way more efficient. I'm like, well, what are you cutting at currently? Anywhere between about maybe 45 and 50 inches per minute. And I just start laughing.
yeah, exactly. Like, you should go faster.
Yeah.
Right. But, obviously there's certain materials that you can't go faster in. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, that's what I think is funny is there are a lot of materials out there that people are undercutting themselves on. And a lot of times it's because of technology. They're running these old machines. They don't realize how much faster they really could be going. Because back in the day, 300 inches a minute was fast because the tools couldn't take it.
Yep.
Nowadays, the tools can go 1,000 inches a minute, 1,200 inches a minute. So it's like you're cutting plywood at single pass, 1,000 inches a minute.
Yep.
And there's guys out there that are like, well, I'm going 150 inches a minute. Like, I can go 10 times faster.
Right.
I'm not going to wait on that. Nick, what do you think's changed in the industry? What's something so noticeable to you?
I mean, being in the position I am in the customer liaison team, I think adding that to the business obviously has helped take some of the stress off the sales guys and the other people.
That wasn't here when I started.
Yeah, it wasn't there when I started.
We had Steve.
Steve. You know what we had when I started? Me. I did sales, customer service, parts, shipping, and I helped tech support.
Yeah, it is nice knowing that once the customer placed the deposit that they're taken care of, and
Yeah.
I don't have to be as attentive as you were.
My thing about it is, if I got to be the guy that knows it all, your support's going to be less because I don't know every little thing. But having a guy that Nick, you're a perfect example, right? Your entire job is to take care of that customer's experience from the point where they put the deposit in to making sure that things go smooth until the machine's ready to ship.
Yep.
Like, you know what they did back then? Please wait for me to reach out to you. Like, that's what it was like. For 12 weeks, you gave me your money. Just please give me 12 weeks. I promise I'll update you as soon as the machine's done.
I'm not going to have much information for you the first 3. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's literally how it was. Like, I couldn't give you updates because the only way I could give you an update was literally walk out on the floor, find your machine, look at what they're doing that day, and give you an update. We didn't have systems. It was go talk to the guy and find out what he's doing and how long it's going to be. And, oh, he's not working on your machine today because he got 4 to build it before you. So there's no update to give you. You're just waiting to wait right now. Nowadays, we're doing something constantly. Like, we're building, machines in different stages and having that liaison, that experience. Like, the customer service in CNC today is tremendous. Like, comparably to where we were when we started and where you think about where CNC was 20 years ago. You used to you didn't even get to talk to the manufacturer. You talked to a distributor. ShopSabre never worked that way, but a lot of machines, it was, you sell through a distributor. So you were talking to the traveling sales guy. Guy would tell you whatever you need to hear. Tells you he's going to be your best friend. Then you give him your money. He disappears because he's got to tell the next guy he's going to be his best friend. While the manufacturer's building your machine, and meanwhile, the sales guy has no idea what's going on with that machine that you built because he's not even in the building. And this whole process went on and on and on, and it was just like a whole lot of no information. Then the machine shows up, and the guy shows up, helps you install it. You had to pay for that. You had to pay for him to help you for 3, 4, 5 days because the controller was that hard to run. And then he's gone, and good luck. There wasn't somebody to call. You had to wait for that guy to come out if you needed something. You pay for service calls. Like, nowadays, you don't deal any of that.
Well, that's the one thing I think about all the time is like all the things that I do during the day, whether it's phone calls or emails or whatever, having to have that put back on the sales guys with all the customers you guys have that are in the process of obviously waiting for the machine to get there. And even after they get it, getting, questions about certain things. I can't imagine having 40, 50, 60 customers emailing me all day, every day, asking questions. Like, you'd never have time to sell a machine, right?
Right.
So the fact that we can reply to these guys' emails or phone calls within, minutes usually to answer their questions or getting them taken care of, obviously it's an important thing to them to not just feel like they're being ignored for how many days or weeks or even, months really for that matter, while their machine is being built and they paid all this money and they're like, okay, well, what's going on? Now that they have my money, what's really happening since I don't hear from anybody? So at least now we have, the weekly contacts with everybody. So they kind of know where everything stands for the most part. But I just can't imagine not having somebody in between doing.
Well, remember that I couldn't take a picture either back then and send it to you. Like, I couldn't show you anything. We didn't have that ability, right? I couldn't do a video call. Like, Zoom didn't exist. I couldn't log in and like show you anything. Like, it was just, you had to take my word. Like, I promise I'm working on it, and there's companies out there that unfortunately their word wasn't very good. You know, that they were scammers, and there was companies that existed that took people's money and didn't build machines. Like, so that was another concern. People had to, are you real versus the guy who's not real, right? Like, you had to prove yourself. And so I think CNC technology, you know, in terms of this tech or the support has come a long way. One thing though, I think that we all overlooked is price. It's huge. It's changed dramatically. When I started, CNC machines weren't made in China. There was nothing coming out of China. So CNC machines were the price of a house. You were buying machines that were $150,000, $200,000, $250,000. Machines now are the price of a pickup truck. Right? I mean, that's a major difference. And, you know, honestly, though, CNC machines were built to be very industrial and heavy duty back in the day, right? And they were meant to last 20 years. Nowadays, you're lucky if some of the machines on the market can last 2 years.
Right.
I mean, they're built for price. And so it's driven costs down on everything. You know, so many people were forced, you know, to buy cheap things because of various things in their, you know, in their life. But the problem is now cheap is kind of expected. You know, as we were talking about, you know, so many people forced the CNC market to race to the bottom for pricing. A lot of these Chinese companies, they were purposely undercutting the American products and the quality products, trying to get them to slash their prices or lose the business. And so it forced companies to cut quality. And so many companies sold out to China. I mean, that's where, like, when you look at when I started, there wasn't a single CNC machine out there coming from China. Like, it wasn't, if somebody said from China, they weren't even going to be considered.
Now a large percentage of them get them.
I would bet 75% of machines come from China now.
Say it's easy.
Yeah, or at least have a majority of Chinese components.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because they saw big dollar signs. It's really easy to come into a industry that you don't do anything in. It's easy to be a guy who sells a middle product, right? It's hard to be a manufacturer.
Right.
It's hard to do what we do. To be able to do what we do, it's hard for people to get into it. But here's the thing. We've got 40 years now, 24 years of us doing this. We have had the time to develop processes and procedures and the manufacturer. We have a 100,000 square foot facility built for building CNC machines. We can now be competitive with China because of the fact that we've built our entire business around the processes. So we compete very competitively to them within a few $1,000s typically, and you get so much better service.
For sure.
But you think about a company who never had that, right? All they did is found a supplier in China who's built their own business. They're bringing in these products and they're the middleman. They're selling. They're the distributor that we used to do, you know, that used to see 20 years ago. They're that guy again. They're just putting their own name on it now instead.
And I'd say one of the sad things too is you get some of these customers that have had these quality machines for 20 plus years, and they come out to the open market today now to try to buy something similar. They're talking $250,000, $300,000 for what they currently have to technology today, and then they're looking at these Chinese machines, hoping it's going to be the same quality. And I talk to these guys, and I look at them. I'm like, well, the machine you have now has ball screws on it. The machine you're looking at is an imported product from China.
Yep.
You're trying to get a machine you're going to have for another 20 years. It's just not going to do it.
Buying a machine nowadays is much different than 15 years ago. I mean, it just is what it is. Back then, like from my perspective, back then you had to win the business. You had to earn their business. You know, they'd come to your plant. They'd take the time to tour your facility. They'd go through the machines. Nowadays, people just look at that price tag. They don't even give you the chance to earn their business. They don't want you to earn their business. They just want the cheapest price they can get and they buy it. And I think in the world today, we kind of take it for granted that there's some quality products out there and we just kind of buy whatever's cheap. And price overrules quality and service nowadays until they need the quality of the service. That's what I've learned. Is a lot of people will sell out to cheap until they've bought cheap and it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And then they're willing, that's where the buy your second machine the first time came from, was because so many people started finding out the hard way that the Chinese products are not the same. You're going to end up replacing it. But that, you know, we've kind of come to the mentality that we're not going to always win the first business, right? I think we make a lot of our money on the second go around. We have sold a lot of machines to people who made the mistake already once because they're not willing to listen the first time.
Yep.
That's okay. They buy cheap machines. It makes our jobs easier because then they realize what they don't want the second time around.
Right.
And, you know, before quality and service was the focal point, I will say that. Before Chinese implementation and all, you know, the CNC evolution, if you will, focal point was quality and service. That was the first two questions I always used to always get. It's like, what kind of service comes with it? You know, how is the machine built? You know, they want to know everything about the machine. Nowadays, I feel like the first thing out of their mouth is, how much is this going to cost me? I don't know. That's my take on it. I think we've gotten so busy in life now that people don't take the time to learn.
Right.
They just learn the hard way, right? So I think let's talk about setting expectations for a second. You know, I think that's something that we do really well. Is, you know, I think today's world, we're watching all this evolution in everything we do, and we've gone through this before. To me, I feel like when the economy slows down, it's the same pattern over and over. People tighten up their budgets, and therefore they're influenced more by price, right? And import products tend to do well in a bad economy. And you know, a year or two down the road, when things kind of start to switch and people start seeing the failures and all the crap that happens with the import products, suddenly it like switches back. People need quality American products and they want to buy their, you know, service and support is what matters to them. But support goes to hell when you buy something imported. That's something I've learned. You know, you don't often get good support. And once people find that they have really bad support, then suddenly they shift back towards that quality, right? And so, to me, I think that's where we're really good about setting that expectation. This is what you should expect from us.
Yep.
Again, going back to Nick, he's going to give you those updates. He's going to tell you what you need to do. You're not going to get that from the competitor. I can promise you that. They don't care. They're going to take your money the old school way, and you're not going to hear a whole lot unless you start reaching out.
Yep.
With us, Nick, is it weekly? Bi-weekly?
Yeah, every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday, you send out an update to customers.
Yep.
Isn't that pretty cool? You put your money in, and you know every Wednesday you're going to get an update on your machine.
It's nice for me.
Yeah. I mean, think about that. How many emails did you use to get, Travis, when you started about machine status?
Be daily.
It was all the time.
Yeah.
Well, and just think it's nice to have the technology where we can actually provide that
Correct.
good of an update and tell them, you know,
Correct.
a pretty decent nailed down time from when their machine likely will be.
When like
towards
Brandon was
finished.
saying, we didn't have any processes necessarily like we do today. So I mean, who do I ask? Ask Brandon. He's got a million different hats he wears, you know. So the customer would have to wait. Now I can literally walk into your office, not even bug you, and just say, "Hey man, where are you at on this?" I can give them the update for you while you're doing your other things, and I love it. It's easy.
I think companies that are tooling up right now, buying machines right now, the ones who are buying the right products right now are going to be the ones who ultimately win in a year or two.
Absolutely.
Like I think a lot of businesses are tooling up right now, and there's many of them that have tooled up incorrectly, and they're going to end up with a machine that's going to fail in a year or two, right when things are starting to get hot, and they're going to be in trouble.
Big time.
You know, and you have to set your expectations appropriately. You know, take the time to grow your business is my biggest thing that I always say to people. Like, you got to take the time to do it right. And giving guys like Chad and Travis the opportunity to go through the specs with you and talk about what our machines do versus what the competitors do. I think people are so afraid to ask that question. Chad, what makes you better? I'm asking.
What makes me better?
Yeah, what makes you better? What makes buying a machine from you better than somebody else?
Because I'm the Chad.
Because you're the Chad. Good answer. But that's my thing is I think people need to ask that question more. Chad, what makes your product better?
We're American made.
Yeah.
Ball screws.
That's the answer. American made, right? I mean, that means something.
We have full tech support.
Full tech support.
I work here,
Chad still works here.
and I'll go to bat for my customers.
You definitely go to bat for your customers. I will say that definitively. Chad will go to bat for his customers. Even when he sometimes wants to beat me up for things that he shouldn't beat me up for, he does.
I mean, people are going to get the best support and service in the industry.
Oh, I
hands
agree
down.
with that.
Hands down.
It's buying from a place that people care about the product.
Well, I think that's a difference when you have people involved in this business that actually started this business. You're not just a bunch of investors who see red and green numbers.
Well, even for like me and Travis, you know, our little time here, moving into this building, being a part of that, and the
Right.
company's growth in that aspect gives me like more pride to want to be a part of the
See,
team.
but now see it from my point of view. I've already helped him move twice.
Yep.
So for me, it's like I started in a closet.
That's crazy to think
you
about.
know. So for me, I absolutely love it, and that's the next thing. Why would you buy from ShopSabre? We love our jobs.
Yeah, my index
There's a
finger
reason.
still remembers the move. Just got a scar right there still from you dropping
Well,
a counter on me.
it's cool because how many people?
Got to drop a counter on their boss. Yeah, exactly. Who?
Well, there's probably 4 people. There's 4 quick people that aren't in this room that I could think that were here for it, but
Yeah,
it's not a ton of them.
yeah.
You know,
It's true though. Like you said, the evolution. Travis, I mean, that you make a good point, Travis. You literally, I love how you called it a closet. It's not a closet for the record. It was the size of a closet, but that was our office.
With 3 men in it, it was a closet.
Yeah, it was the smallest office ever. But you think about that, and like we had what 3 rooms in that building?
Yeah.
3 rooms.
Yeah.
2 of the rooms were the size of the room we're in right now.
Right. And you
Like-
think about going out on that floor and seeing 3 machines being built, like, man, we're keeping busy. And
Yeah.
now we're like, I don't even know how many machines are out there on a
Yeah.
daily basis, but the
Yeah.
floor is covered.
Yeah, we're busy. And-
Over 20.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like you think about that. Like we do over 100 machines a month right now. Back then, we were doing like 5 to 8 a month.
Right.
Like it's crazy.
That's
like when you
wild.
think, yeah, when you think about like where we've come. I mean, shit, when we started, my dad was doing 1 a month. And that was a good month, But that's the evolution of business, right? And so it's like that's the company you're dealing with. Is a company that went from the hard knocks of figuring it out. We had to grow. We had to learn it. The growing pains, the support along the way, the technology. Do you think a company who imports from China ever learns the hard way?
No.
Absolutely not.
No, they don't know that. Like they don't the company building it for them is figuring it all out, right? But they're never actually truly understanding the product they're building. Like with us, we understand our product through and through because we've actually had to figure it out and build it. And okay, that didn't work, so now we got to change it, right? We have to engineer it. We have engineers in our building. We have some really intelligent engineers in this building. We have people in this building that have education well beyond my capabilities that help us produce quality parts. I mean, I'm very proud of, we have Harvard students here. We have, or grads. We have MIT grads. Like, we have some very prestigious engineering
Can we
schools.
say West Point?
We could say West Point. Like that. I mean, we do. We have some really intelligent people in this building. And I'm just honored to be able to be in their presence because they bring so much intelligence around us that it's like I learn from them every day.
Yeah, none of those people are on the podcast.
None of those people are sitting here right now. None of us are them. That's why we're on the podcast.
Just want to make sure that
Yeah. We let the intelligent people do the intelligent stuff. They let the dumb guys like us do the talking. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, none of them are on the podcast. Maybe we should get them on the podcast. We have some pretty cool people here, though. Like I said, we have a lot of ex-military people here too. I mean,
Yep.
People who actually American-made means something to them.
Yep.
Like I think there's a lot of people here that have invested their time and energy into the American-made aspect of it because it means something to them, not because it's just a way to sell something. But they actually care about what they do and they want to be a part of a bigger thing. They don't want to sell products that are shit. I mean, for lack of a better explanation, nobody wants to sell products they don't believe in.
Well, it's cool to some of the places that we sell into. I was talking to a customer that picked up their machine yesterday about some of the places that have purchased our machines, and
Yeah.
their eyes kept getting bigger and bigger with each thing that I would name. It was pretty awesome.
Well, I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.
Is that what you said to him?
No.
You guys should start every sales that way.
Well, I don't know if people would like that.
You don't think so?
don't
Just with this sound, just like, thanks for calling ShopSabre. This is Chad.
Well, I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.
How can I help you today?
I get enough closed door meetings the way it is. I don't need any other reasons.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think that'd be good for you. Travis, definitely for you. I don't need you to have more in your repertoire. But, I think the easy answer is the future for CNC is here. I mean, what we're doing now, CNC technology isn't optional anymore. It's the future. You need this technology if you're going to be manufacturing anything or fabricating anything. Doing things the old school way just puts you out of business. I'm being honest with you. I mean, pricing, costing, efficiency isn't the same with manual labor. And the future is CNC. And as we've grown and we've done things, like you have to be evolving into this stuff.
It's not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere. I believe that it's not the crazy fad. I think that this isn't like what people thought of the internet too.
Or like when I first got the job here and told a couple of my buddies,
Yeah.
how many people actually need a CNC machine?
That was a question though.
It made me think, I wonder.
Yeah. But that is
Now I don't.
Yeah, exactly. But that's my thing, is like when you started, it was such a rarity that even then your buddies are like, how many people need a CNC machine, Chad? Like a lot.
That's still one of my favorite things about the job is, hey, what do you do? Oh, I sell CNC machines. Oh, okay.
You're like, just go to the website.
ShopSabre.com.
I thought the same thing when I started, though, too. Like, how many people actually buy a machine like this? And then you see, over the course of the last 6 months, how many different types of businesses and, the variety of people and companies and small and large, how many have purchased them. And it's kind of crazy to see how many people there really are that use them.
How many lives have we changed because of CNC machines? Just in
Hundreds.
general.
A lot.
A ton.
A ton.
Over 7,000.
Over 7,000, that's for sure.
exact.
It's definitely over 7,000. We know that.
I mean, the cool thing for me too is in my 7 years, I've helped family and friends get a CNC machine from ShopSabre. I absolutely love it. Talked to my uncle one day, and he's saying, "Oh yeah, I work for a cabinet shop." I'm like, "Do you guys ever think about getting a CNC machine?" And then a year later, he says, "Hey man, we're really getting serious about this." And within 6 months, they had it in their shop.
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, I think that's cool too. Like you help family members. You know, I've done it too. I've helped family members out, but even like it's kind of funny. So funny story real quick as we end this podcast is I went traveling, obviously, last week, went racing North Dakota and Canada. And we were in North Dakota. I don't remember which track we were at now that I think about it. I think it was Dickinson, North Dakota is where we were. And the tech guy who's teching the race car comes walking up to me and we're talking or whatever, and he's going through the race car. And then he comes up and we're chatting a little bit. And I just happened to ask him, like, hey, what do you do for work? You know, because just trying to learn about people out there. And he told me what he did. He worked in, you know, something with the oil fields there. And he turned and looked at the race car and he goes, in fact, we have one of these. And he pointed right at our logo, and it was the ShopSabre logo. I'm like, oh, that's cool. He goes, yeah, how do you know those guys? I was like, well, my dad started the company. He's like, no way, really? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I need to get your number. He goes, like, I got some questions. Would you be able to help me? He's like, I just started there, and I don't know enough about it. I'm like, yeah. So I gave him my number, and yeah, he's already reached out to me once, and I got him with tech guys. And it's kind of funny, though, because just driving to this racetrack in the middle of Dickinson that I've never been to, the connection was ShopSabre. You know, and so it's cool to meet people, and you know, in racing, it's happened multiple times where I've been to racetracks, people see the logo, and they're like, oh, I have a ShopSabre. My buddy's got a ShopSabre. We love that machine. And it's just like, I'm in the middle of places I've never been before, and I'm making friends with people because of the brand.
And because of that story, it brings me up my story. Remember when I was just at Fleet Farm the other day? I had my work shirt on, just stopped right after work. Kid comes up and says, how do you know about ShopSabre? I said, I work there. I sell the machines. He says, we've got multiple of them at our high school. We absolutely love them. And that made me feel so good about myself.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, you think about that, schools and the students that get to learn from this stuff. It's pretty fun.
I thought you were going to tell a story about at the double wide.
Travis, you still got your business card there out the bar? Your business card still hanging from the wall at the bar?
Multiples.
There you go. I like
Multiples.
it. Solid. Yeah, but you know, like I said, kind of full circle there. CNC. I mean, this is the future of CNC, and I know we got some cool stuff coming out here soon. Like I said, tomorrow we got a new podcast with Chad and me called Sabre Talk, so that's gonna be fun. Make sure you tune in for that. And then I know we're gonna have another meet the team, right?
Yeah, meet the team.
Who's gonna be on that one, Nick?
I thought you were going to say meat raffle.
Meat raffle. We're gonna have a meat raffle.
Those also happen at the double wide.
Hey, Nick, who's gonna be the meet the team?
I think I've been nominated for this week.
It's
so
you.
Watch for that on Friday.
We're gonna
at noon,
meet
right?
Nick.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be kind of cool. So tune in for that Friday, right? That'll be the episode that'll be going live on Friday. And then we have AWFS 2023 coming up in 3 weeks, guys. 4 weeks.
Is that quick already, huh?
Like
Yeah.
July 23rd.
Nice.
July 23rd. Booth number 2701, I believe. So
I don't know that.
Yeah, 2701.
It's going to be an awesome booth, though.
It's gonna be an awesome booth. Pretty excited. It was built all on a ShopSabres, and we are very excited to be showing off the ShopSabre Pro series and the ShopSabre IS series at that show. So if you're gonna be in Vegas the 25th through the 28th, come visit us. Right, Chad, you gonna be there?
I'll be there.
Travis, you gonna be there?
I'll be there.
Jose, you gonna be there? I'll be there. Jose's gonna be there too.
Nice.
So he's gonna bring the camera for a day. We're gonna try to record some stuff, but
Awesome.
yeah, it's gonna be pretty awesome. Like I said, we're pretty excited about the show upcoming, and we got some new marketing stuff coming out. We'll have some new videos that we're working on. We got some a new website that's just kind of in the middle of being redesigned right now. So hopefully a few months here and we'll have that launched. So yeah, a lot of exciting things coming up.
Coming to the close of Q2.
Q2 at the end of this month.
Got some sales running.
Yeah, got to get in touch with our sales guys. There's some discounts right now to get your machine on order before the end of the month.
That is correct.
How do they get a hold of you guys?
ShopSabre.com.
No, sales. Sales at ShopSabre.com is probably a better way
I
to
was
reach
just
you.
going to try to something new.
Or you can call us 952-461-4570. Ask for the sales team.
Follow us on MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace, yes. That's where we're really hitting hard right now is MySpace. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. They all exist. YouTube.
Basically everywhere but where I say.
Everywhere but MySpace, basically. But yeah, make sure you follow us, give us a like, share some ideas, things you want to hear us talk about. We love to hear ideas. Share it with the sales guys here. You can send ideas to marketing@shopsabre.com or, any one of these episodes. Leave a comment. Let us know what you want to hear about.
A lot of fun stuff coming up.
But with that, I'm Brandon.
I'm Chad.
I'm Travis.
I'm Nick.
And that's Jose. Thanks for talking shop with ShopSabre.